Anti-Afro Spengalis. I stated just a couple days ago that I was going to be selective about when, where, and how I would be responding to some comments that were made. There were 3 live streams for a total of about 15 hours. I'm focusing primarily on these 3 live streams. And there were a lot of things that were said in those live streams. And just thinking about addressing all of the things that were said. And obviously, I didn't listen to these live streams in one sitting. It's taken me some time, a little bit at a time, as much as I can listen to in one sitting, because, like most of you, I am busy. And I was just shaking my head to the point where I started getting a migraine. This has got to be the most incredible situation for someone, and I'm saying someone as I'm talking about King Kong crazy, I'll go ahead and tell you that, to say these things and not even stopping to think that what actually occurred is documented. The timelines of things that occurred are documented, but I refuse to believe he's making a mistake when he says these things. He knows good and well he's trying to lead people down a path that is alternative to the truth. So I wanted to address a couple of these things. And what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to spend time playing tons of clips or extended clips with King Kong Crazy. I picked out a few things I wanted to just show you or let you hear as a backdrop. The first video here that I'm doing, it's not going to be long at all because I want to isolate this particular issue. And letting you hear KKC's comments, you're going to see, and you're going to hear rather, just how dedicated he is to this mission. I'll talk to you about his little mission in a second, but I want you to hear what he has to say. Stay tuned and I will return.
I know she not gonna make a video and talk about it because she don't stay current. And if she do, she fumbles and rubs the goddamn rusty hands and shit and lean closer to the goddamn and start talking to y'all like this. What's wrong with y'all? I'm sorry I put that in y'all ear, but that's what happens.
Let me start by making this clear. You heard how KKC referenced my rusty hands. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, but let me make sure everybody is aware. Both of my hands are functioning. I've never had carpal tunnel syndrome. I've never had to take a break from completing any work that I need to have done. When I complete my documentation, I'm most of the time on point with getting things in. I use all different types of devices to complete my different lines of responsibility. So I don't have any impairment, nor am I slowed. Oh, you know something? I'll go ahead and let you know this while we're at it, talking about my hands. Let's go down to my knees. This is about 4 months ago. I was coming down the stairs and you know how you miss the stairs, I'm in a hurry, and I twisted my knee. I'm like, dang it. So I'm continuing to run around, do what I do. So 3 days later, it's still hurting and it's swelling. It's getting worse. So of course I have to go to the doctor to find out what's happening, do x-rays, do MRIs. It was just strain. I said, well, how come it's still hurting? It's 3 days. Because you have to stay off of it. Duh, right? You get used to running around. But let me tell you what they found when they did the x-rays and MRIs. I don't have any arthritis in my knees. Arthritis is a common condition as one ages. There's nothing wrong with having arthritis. Some people have arthritis at a very early age because it's hereditary. So I hate to disappoint you, KKC. My knees are in perfect condition. My bones are fine. I have no impairments when I'm running and walking around. So for you to sit here and try to call me rusty, There are people who say they're younger than me, and they're talking about how they have bad knees, they have a bad back, and I'm not criticizing them. I don't have those issues. I know you want to try to make me appear to be something that I'm not, but I hate to disappoint you. I don't have any problems with my hands, with my arms, with my legs, with my feet. I am 100% mobile, able to go and move around without any restriction. Sorry to disappoint you, but I am not ready for the canners. Not yet. I don't have aches. I don't have pains. Like, oh my God, I woke up. I don't have any of that. And I apologize that my health is stable. You want the worst for me here and now. Nobody can predict the future. So goes the saying, tomorrow is not promised. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what next week holds. I don't know what next year. I have no idea. But here and now, I am thankful for the blessings of being a healthy person. And I'm sorry to disappoint you because I know you want the worst. I'm not going to be able to bring that to you just yet. You really want me out of here pretty quick, don't you? That's how deep it runs with this dude. Wishing every harmful occurrence would come in my direction. He's also wishing demise upon Gerald and his family and his marriage by speaking this into the atmosphere, making up stuff that is non existent. That reflects what you want the situation to be, an unhappy household. That is not an unhappy household. The first thing the missus always talks about is the last family outing and how much they enjoyed it. This is a family that loves to be together, and for some reason, you are speaking about them in a very negative, false light. I think that's your problem, KKC. It's not Gerald's problem. You should be ashamed of yourself attacking a person who did nothing but wish you the best. So let me move on. I want to make sure we get the crux of this video, the topic, covered. Out of all the things that he claims are so serious and so immoral and so unethical about my conduct, he is showing you what it means to be engaged in the quote, petty bullshit. That's his term, the petty bullshit. All the things that are going on, he takes the time to figure out how to criticize me about video production, posting videos. Does that not represent to you how deep this runs for this dude, KKC? He has it in, and he has it in really bad for Gerald, but especially for me. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little secret. Had I stayed on KKC's page, he wouldn't be going at Gerald the way he is. If I had stayed there and did what I was doing, begging Gerald to go over there with me for support, eventually Gerald would have told me, like he did a few times, I'm not going over there. He would have eventually said, stop asking me. And if you're going to stay over there, you're going to encounter what you're going to encounter. I mean, that's the direction we were headed in. He would have never attacked Gerald had I stayed on his page. So let me make this clear as this first introduction to this video I'm posting. The reason for KKC's extreme anger towards me is I left his channel. He's working so hard to convince people that he kicked me off and made grand announcements that we're not welcome over there. And he stepped away from me, AAS people. He has to create this scenario because his ego is bruised. I left. What he was expecting me to do was put up some sort of battle for a position. I was never going to do that. That wasn't going to happen. I left, and that started the punishment process, the punitive process, the digging in deep and talking about video production. Who cares about these video production quality? Now, I'm not saying I don't care how you all feel, because there have been a couple of times where I've been told the volume is low, and then some other times where Something was up with the microphone. I don't remember what it was, but I got it fixed. But aside from that, the sound that he produced, I don't recall having videos like that. If it happened, it was because of something was going on. He's exaggerating. But let me tell you something. This poor quality of production that I have, it's not driving him away. He continues to come back and sit down and listen to every single video I do from start to finish so he can point out when I cut the video off, because 98% of the time I've got to answer a phone call. I see the name on the screen, I have to answer it. Got to take care of business. I'm working. I'm doing all kinds of things. So he sees when I cut off a sentence and when I reloop a video, he is all into it. He's going to find anything he can to engage in this hyper criticism of me. Why? Because I left. I left the KKC channel, and he is in a race for his life to try to convince people that he kicked me off. You didn't kick me out of anything. I left your channel. I left. And let me say this. I'm going to cover this in another video. Think about this. If he booted me, kicked me to the curb, okay, I'm done with you, AAS. Boom, you're gone. I'm gone, right? You wouldn't have any other reason to even think about me. I'm past history. But that's not what happened. I moved on. I wasn't even mentioning KKC. When? I felt bad because he was under attack when the beat situation came out, and I saw how shabby his no good, no count team was allowing him to be torn to shreds. And I reached out because I felt bad. It was awful. These people were running around trying to make themselves be seen and heard. Okay, whatever the case. And he accepted my gesture. When I reached out and sent him a few messages, I was concerned from the victim of crime end, from the you have a right to decide whether you're going to address the person who tried to take your life. I supported that. And I will go into that in another video. He accepted the gestures. But before that, there was no kicking out of anything. If I was kicked out, how could I leave messages? If I was blocked, like he tried to say, how could I be leaving messages on a channel that I'm blocked on? He later on, after that situation went kaput, and again, I'll talk about that in another video, he is the one that continued to reference us and take pot shots at us, me and Gerald. He took pot shots at Gerald. He took pot shots at me. He's the one that didn't move on. And I'll get into that in another video, but I wanted to make sure you knew the reason why this anger continues to linger is because I left his chat. And when I left, a lot of things left with me. I wanted to show you just how devoted, just how invested King Kong Crazy is when it comes to finding anything he can criticize me about. We've seen his reaction. If you criticize him about anything, he goes off the deep end. But that's not my problem. That's his problem. So I wanted to come on to make sure I got this first video dropped so you have a context. I was never kicked out of anything. And if I was, so what? He would have done me a favor. I should have left sooner than when I left. I left. He was surprised. He thought I was going to hang in there and put up some fight. I was not going to do that. I was never going to do that. I got the hell out of there because it got to be untenable. And oh my goodness, how is it untenable in my space? He thinks he has a perfect space. Well, he thinks that on the surface, but deep down he knows there's a lot going on over there that he doesn't have any control over. That's why he had to come up with the scheme about interviewing all of these subjects. And that, again, is a whole different video. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this. Don't touch that dial because there's much more to come. Buyer beware.